some of the women, all of them have been fascinating, but some have moved us in particular. And those have been the women in uniform. And as I said previously, it has been a personal passion of mine as somebody who has reported on the military to see expanded roles. I think it was a brilliant moment when Nirmala Sitharaman was actually appointed by Prime Minister Modi as a full-time defense minister. I think just the symbolism, and when I say symbolism, it doesn't take away from her efficiency and her performance and her competence, but there was such power in that image. And to me, it hopefully is the harbinger of wider, bigger roles for women in the military. And when I say military, we also include the paramilitary in this conversation. We also include the police. We are here to talk generally about women in uniform, the battles they have to fight, literally and metaphorically. And in conversation with them is a very close friend of mine, an old colleague, somebody who has shared many an adventure with me. We've spent many road trips together, many nights at the line of control, doing all kinds of crazy things together, covering the military. It is my pleasure to welcome on stage Nitin Gokhale, Senior Defense Editor and Journalist. Nitin, can I welcome you on stage? Let's have a round of applause for Nitin. And I leave it to Nitin, my co-conspirator, as I said, in many adventures, to conduct and lead this conversation with women in uniform and introduce his panel.
Thank you, Barkha. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm actually overwhelmed that I'm here because I'm not somebody who's been an anchor. I've been a field reporter. But Barkha feels we have worked together in Kargil, and then we've worked, of course, in NDTV and other adventures that we have done. So I'm happy to be here to moderate a session with 3 women in uniform. Let me introduce them one by one and let them get them on stage. If I can introduce Neetu from the Central Reserve Police Force. She's been in the uniform. Welcome, please. We will talk about her in detail. I can invite Lieutenant Colonel Navneet Duggal, one of the most senior women officers in the army. She is in the EME battalion. I know that you've met them. I've seen them on stage. Please take your seat. And finally, Lieutenant Colonel Sofiya Qureshi from the Signals, and somebody who served at the UN and has done some great service. Welcome to all 3 of you. Let me not waste time and get straight to the heart of the matter. Women in uniform is not a rarity anymore in India, but they're still small in numbers. But some of our central police armed forces, like the CRPF, the CISF, the BSF, have had excellent work done by the women, and there have been, if you remember, there is a whole big battalion of 1,000 women which went to CRPF battalion, went to Liberia in Africa. And I happened to run into the lady president of Liberia in New York one day. And she asked me, when she looked at me, "Are you Indian?" I said, "Yes." She said, "Oh, Indian, the CRPF ladies." You know, I mean, that was the kind of thing that should happen. So let me start with Neetu here. She's an author. She's an accomplished police officer. She heads a major range, as they call it, in Jammu and Kashmir, where the militancy is being fought by the state. And she's had several other achievements to her credit. But let me ask you, Neetu, you've now done, what, 26 years in the CRPF in uniform. What made you actually take up this profession itself?
Here, I happen to belong to this Central Reserve Police Force. This is the largest paramilitary force in the world. It has also had the distinction of raising the first women armed battalion in the world. After that, it followed with a string of achievements. However, when you ask me a specific question as to what made me join this organization, here I would like to quote G.K. Chesterton, who said, "A soldier fights not because he hates what is in front of him. He fights because he loves what lies behind him." I am in this organization because this organization gives me an opportunity to serve this country. This organization gives me an opportunity to go across the world, across the country, and make sure that the unity and integrity of the country is protected. The Central Reserve Police Force is a central armed police force and therefore is deployed across the country it is in the counterinsurgency areas, it is in all kinds of anti-militancy areas, and it is my job as a very, very proud member of the CRPF to ensure that the basic parameters of the Constitution are upheld. That's what makes me join.
Absolutely, very well said. The CRPF, in fact, as she said, the world's largest central armed police force, and they are the lead organization that is fighting militancy, internal law and order situation. You name a place in the country and they're there, and of course abroad they have been all over the place. They have also fought very gallantly in the 62 war and the 65 war. One's in Ladakh and the other one in Kutch. So it's a very commendable and a very historical force there. But let me turn to Colonel Navneet Duggal, who was in the EME, the Army's, the back end, if you want to call it, the people who maintain the readiness of the Army equipment and vehicles and all other stuff. But that apart, I'm not going to ask her specifically what she does as an Army officer there. But I want to get, you're also a national level shooter, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so, I have represented Army in international events, one major being the World Military Games way back in 2006.
Yeah, so that's another facet of hers. And I believe in fact, it's a coincidence that both the Army officers here are twins. I mean, they have twins. She has a twin, and even Sophia has a twin, so they are here. If they can just sort of identify themselves. And it's a coincidence that they've never sort of met or worked together. But you have a twin.
I have an identical twin sister.
Yeah, in fact, Sophia's twin is here, I think. Can you stand up, please? Yeah, there you are. And what does she do?
She's into fashion designing, and she got the title of Miss India Earth 2 months ago, and she'll be representing at international level.
Big round of applause for this lady.
So people say she's a model, I say I'm a role model. That's what it is.
She's the model and she's the role model.
She's working for the environment, and she's planted 25.
That's great to know. Yeah. But let me ask you, Navneet, in fact, you've been one of the longest serving women officers in the Indian Army. You joined in 1996 and one of the longest serving. How has it been, and why did you actually take up, join the uniform? I believe you belong to an army family?
Absolutely, I'm the third generation. Let me just begin, this love for this uniform. This is the biggest pride which you get to don. This is what always attracted me. I used to question my father since very young, when this cadre was not open to women, as to why we can't enter. And God was so kind. By the time I reached that age, somebody had taken that decision. It got open for us, and first opportunity I got through. That was the only thing I wanted to do ever in my life.
Incidentally, her husband is also in the army, so it's a military couple, really. And
he's sitting in the audience.
He's sitting here. Can you please stand up here? Yeah, there you are. A big round of applause for him.
And my father.
And your father here. He's also a Fauji, former Fauji. And a mother there. So, Navneet, of course, there was a tradition of being in the army. But when you joined the army, did you feel that the women officers, they were coming in smaller numbers, they were coming in there? And there is always this debate, which I know you should not be sort of answering as a serving officer. But how will you inspire coming generation of women or ladies to come into the uniform forces? Let's not just talk about the army, but all the other services.
I'd like to mention, it's your individual aspiration as to what you want from your life. See, challenges are there in every field. There is no profession which does not come with its own set of difficulties and challenges, especially for women. So what I feel is, you should be motivated enough, and you should be ready to take on the challenges, and you should come with that strong willpower that once you join, you have to stick to it in thick or thin. And then people support you. It's not like that. When they see you performing well, our counterparts love the fact that we don't shy away from hard work, and then they start respecting you, and that's how we are continuing to so long.
So professionalism is what counts.
Absolutely.
That's good to know, because
Absolutely.
there's no discrimination really. But let me turn to Sofiya now. She also belongs to a Fauji family in a way, and I can see it. There is a kind of a bonding here, because my father was also in the army. He retired long ago in 1982. So you came into the army because your father was there, and I think you had some kind of an inspiration, which the story that you want to share.
Yeah. I mean, because I'm a Fauji kid, so that's why I've been exposed to the army environment. And I not only that, my great-grandmother, she was with the Rani Lakshmi Bai. She was a woman warrior.
It runs in the family. It runs in the family.
That was one of the reasons. My mother wanted either of us, because we are two sisters. She's in NCC, she's joining. Would you like to join? I said, if I'm getting an opportunity, I would like to. So I applied for it and I got it. And my grandfather, he used to say, he was also in the army, he used to say, Vayam Rashtre Jagryam. It's our responsibility of every citizen to be alert and stand up for our country and defend the nation. It's a dignified and honorable job.
There you are. So that's the sentiment.
Yes.
But what made you join the army?
Yeah, now I would like to share when I joined the academy, everybody knows the Kargil war was going on. We were cadet. I was exposed to the army environment as a kid, not as an officer or as a soldier, right? But I was in academy. Fallen used to be there in the ante-room, where we used to see the Kargil coverage.
And there you are. This is the girl here.
And I say today, I'm in the uniform, but I believe Barkha ma'am to be a true woman warrior.
There you are. A good round of applause for Barkha.
You are the one who reached. You are the one who reached in Kashmir. You are the one who reached there. Because when we got commissioned, there are still questions were there. Do lady officer to be posted in the valley? It was a testing bed, right? But you were the first one. You were there. And you motivated us, a young lot. I must have been around 20 years that time. But I thought, when ma'am can go, why can't I? I've been trained for it, right? So hats off to you.
That brings us to, the CRPF, for instance. Let me come back to you, Neetu. You've been in the uniform now for 27 years. And tell us of some incident where, which you can recall with great pride as an officer, not just as a woman, but as an officer.
The CRPF, as I said, raised its first women armed battalion, and very soon it was put to test. It also became a part of the IPKF. It also became a part of the first troops that went to Srinagar and to all other areas, including the Northeast. One very good thing that the CRPF did was to send the world's first female-formed unit to Liberia, which he just mentioned. That was the time that UN Women stood up with us. That is the time that the UN Women has done so much for us to train our people, to tell us the entire gender sensitization, the entire program. And the girls have done so well that even, as he just mentioned, even the President of Liberia mentions it in so many words. But what this entire thing was, what we're talking all about is women together, all of us together. I am so grateful to be the women who's come up with this, because after putting in about 27 years of service, where do we stand and what should be ahead of us? That is the question that we are asking. And that is where we are saying that it's important to mentor the next generation. It is important to be together. We are the people who may have opened the roads, but it's now important for the next generation to take over from us.
To sustain.
To sustain. And it is very, very important for us to chronicle, to talk about the small achievements, the big achievements that they have done. As a matter of fact, which I will mention, I now write about these women who are working in the hinterlands of the country. My job gives me an opportunity to talk about these women who are in the real remote areas. My book is called My Life, My Horizon, but it talks about somebody called Birubala Rabha. Now, this woman is 75 years of age, does not know Hindi or English. In the jungles of Gwalpara, she's working against the entire practice of witchcraft. And she's
that's a great thing, I can tell you, because I've seen it personally, the lady that she's talking about. And I'll just add here before you continue that in the Kokrajhar, the Bodo-dominated areas of Assam, which women are suspected to practice witchcraft, and they are lynched there. There are lynch mobs there in those areas, and therefore you needed to sort of stop that practice or make people aware, and that's what I think she's done, so she'll speak about it.
What Birupala Rabha has done is she's got these more women together with us and with her, and now she's been nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. She's now got a doctorate from the Guwahati University. These are the people who would do work anyways, whether or not we stand for them, whether or not we support them. But very, very small steps. We all need to encourage them, talk about them, take them further. That is all that we can do as of now. The book also talks about somebody called Kamlesh Kumari. She happens to be from the Central Reserve Police Force. She was the one who stood when the Indian Parliament was attacked. She was the one who stood between the militants and the citadel of our democracy, which was attacked.
That's right, on 13 December 2001. She was the one who actually saved the day that day.
She saved the day. She was posthumously awarded the Ashok Chakra, which is the highest gallantry award. We have within the organization somebody called Vimla Devi. Vimla Devi was awarded the first woman to be awarded a Sena Medal for Gallantry for her work with the IPKF. So these are the women who we need to applaud.
Very inspirational.
Take together. So we are very thankful to be having this platform to talk about such women, to be able to take them further.
Absolutely, very inspirational. Navneet, you've also served for a long time. I'm sure you've gone all over the country.
Yes.
Tell us about some incident that you remember. You will remember even when you are out of uniform, and will continue to inspire the next generation.
See, I'd like to share two experiences. I have been posted in the JNK also. I have been on the Western Front, and I have served in Northeast also. But the incident I want to mention is about my posting, my first posting. And let me tell you, it wasn't easy. This example which I am going to give, it will show that we are also vulnerable, and it takes a lot of strength to be here, and we need support from each and everybody. There was a suicide case in my unit. A Jawan of my unit had gone to a railway station, and he came under the train. He was cut in between into two pieces. And I was ordered, I was just 21 at that time, and I was ordered by the commanding officer that you have to go and organize, collect the body, take it to the mortuary, get the, all those formalities done, and then do whatever it takes to order a court of inquiry. And these are all our procedures. I went there, and believe me, it was not that I was shaking. My men were also shaking. They were not ready to touch that body because we have to put those pieces into a box and then only take it to a hospital for the postmortem. And I had to go and touch that body first, just to prove that if I don't do it, they will not do it. I went and physically collected those pieces.
Leading by example. Leading by example.
It's besides the point. After that 10 days, I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep. I had to call my parents, you come and sleep with me. But then, that is one opportunity which made me tough. And from there, I took on, and I never looked back. I fought, and I fought with my own mental and physical weaknesses and served. I take pride in saying I served like an equal in JNK as well as in Northeast. Thank you.
Excellent. That's great to know. Big round of applause for that courage. I'm sure all of you have that kind of a thing. Sophia, you've worked in the UN. You've served with the UN forces and with the Indian contingent in the UN. I'm sure you have some experience to share with our audience here.
Firstly, I would like to, on the lighter side, I'll give you an example. When I was a lieutenant, I was posted in Nagrota. Those times, they never used to send us to the post all alone.
Nagrota is in Jammu and Kashmir, by the way.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know.
And especially during that hijack when he was kept in that jail in Nagrota, that militant, if you remember this. So it was a high alert. When I landed there, it was 10 days of my service, 10 or 15 days. So you're supposed to be understudy of some officer. So there was one officer, he was an adjutant. He told me, listen, you be ready, patrol is going to come, and you have to check it. This was the order. As a soldier, as an officer, I've been trained. I just came out of the academy. So when you say patrol, it's a patrolling, right? So I went to the room, just brushed up my knowledge again, and I told them, I'm ready for patrolling. So I went to the Charlie Hill in the evening, did all my patrolling, but I didn't know what happened at the back. They were searching me where I am. Because the order for, not for the patrolling, the order for to check the petrol and diesel in the tank. Right? So when I came, I got all bullshit. Blah, 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 blah. Where were you? I said, sir, I'd gone for patrolling. You're not supposed to go for patrolling. No officer went there. I said, sir, I would like to explore. And then the adjutant told me, CEO will call you now. Be ready. I said, I was shivering because I was left in 10 days of service, you know.
Yeah.
What wrong I have done? And I was quite excited with this journey of patrolling, you know. I was acquainting with my troops and I was trying to prove, yeah, I'm equal to them.
Also equal to the men you were trying to prove, but
Yeah,
actually it was a misinformation.
Yeah, and when I went to the commanding officer, and those days we never used to interact commanding officers so, you know, easily. So he invited me, he called me. He said, yeah, young lady, where did you go? I kept quiet. Sir, I went for patrolling. Okay. He looked at me, you want to join para? I said, yes, sir. You want to be commando? And yes, sir. He said, start practicing. It was the other way around. You know, it's a
he was
perception.
welcoming. He actually
motivated
encouraged
me.
her.
He motivated me to do this. So it's up to you. And one more example I would like to quote about the United Nations peacekeeping mission in Congo. That time my service was 5 and 6 years of service. I was young major that time. It's a very touchy story. I used to visit to Donde Marie orphanage, which is run by the Spanish nun. I used to go and spend my time there after my work. I found one young girl, Zainabu. She always used to come and she used to hug me. I used to give chocolates and used to talk to this. So one day, the senior lady of Donde Marie, she told me, Sophia, could you please help? You can take the help from the United Nations to reunite this girl with her parents. And parents were in the eastern part of the Congo, and we were in the western part, in Kinshasa. I said, okay, ma'am, we'll do my best, because we're not supposed to have false promises. So I went to the force commander's office. I spoke to the staff officer, said we would like to repatriate this girl, reunite this girl with her parents in the UN flight. So they say, no, you're not allowed. If something happens to this girl, you will be responsible. It's not permitted. Believe me, it took me 6 months. I worked day and night for civil-military coordination work. I got awarded by the force commander. I said, sir, I don't want this award. I want, if you can allow this girl, if I can take her to her parents. They said, yes, permission given. And I took this girl, and I went to eastern part of the Kinshasa, Congo, there. So that reminds me of a Salman Khan movie, you know?
That's the woman's touch.
So that touch, and I went to through the charter, UN charter, then tuk-tuk, and after that boat, and finally reached to that house. You know, that kind of feeling and happiness which I got, I don't think I'll get anywhere.
Yeah, there you are. That's the empathy. That's the empathy you get.
That's the army has given me. This opportunity army has given me.
Yeah, I think Neetu wants to add something.
I'll add something to this. When I had just about 2 years of service, I happened to be a part of a contingent which was doing elections in Bihar. Now, elections in Bihar has its own connotations.
And in those days.
In those days, it has its own connotations. So we were in a place called Danapur. There is this Ganga, and the ballot boxes are still coming in. And then this huge, small village, everybody gathers around. I am a novelty. They've never seen something like this or whatever. They keep a safe distance. And then a very small girl, maybe about 8 years of age, walks up to me and she says, "Aapko chhoo ke dekh le?"
So sweet.
So sweet. I've never forgotten that girl, and I'm still in touch with her. I'm still making sure that she gets the right education that she does. But these are the very small things. We realize that we have opened up vistas. We've tried to have people think that it is possible. We've tried to make a way out for people who can join us together. But when we come here, we realize there is so much of more world, and it's so encouraging to be here. Thank you.
Great to hear all that. Before I take last comments from them, if anybody has a question or anybody wants to, yes, please. I'll have maybe 2 questions from the audience because we are short of time. But there is a young lady wanting to ask a question. Can we give her a mic there, please? Right at the back.
Thank you very much, sir, for giving me this opportunity. So I'm Utkarsha, and I'm an English student at St. Xavier's, Bombay. And it's such a good pleasure to be able to see the army woman out there on stage and people out here clapping for you.
Thank you.
So has your uniform ever been a limitation to your femininity? Like, we are grown up thinking about Lakshman Rekha and we are imposed it. So have you ever experienced any Lakshman Rekha as a woman?
While in uniform. I think you want to answer that?
I come from an organization which does not have a glass ceiling. I come from an organization which has the same inter-se seniority. One of my batchmates happens to be here to cheer me on. So, there he is. So I happen to be the only one in my batch, the only lady officer in my batch. I have never, I speak on behalf of all of us, never had this kind of a thing that this is the done thing, this is not the done thing. However, I would like to add something. It dawned on me later. I was commanding a battalion in the jungles of Tripura. There's a place called Tilyamura. And we were planning entire operations, and there was a specific information and things like that. Now, here is a man, 1,000 men. Here is a man who belongs to a very rural background in the country. He is used to giving orders to women. And now he has to take an order from a woman. That is one. Two, in a corporate world, when a woman gives an order, it is a non-entity, it is some paper coming in. Here, he has to put his life online on the basis of the strategy I make. It's a huge thing for the man also. Let's admit it. It's very difficult for the men also. It's a lot of mental toughness for us, but it's a lot of mental toughness for him as well.
I think that sums up the whole approach. Maybe Navneet wants to add something to this.
First, before adding, I want to tell you, like all of us have been here from the past 2 days, and the love and the respect we have got from the crowd, as well as the organizers, it has been tremendous, and I want to reciprocate our good wishes, feelings, and thank you so much. I think I'll thank each one of you for being there. But one thing I want to add, what she just mentioned. You know, when I was posted in J&K, we had to do this night patrolling with weapon and 10 men. You know, we had to take a round in the night to ensure that the security aspects are all in place. Now, my commanding officer, I was lucky to have him. He never differentiated between a woman officer and a male officer. So he detailed me also. You know, my men were scared that they'll have to protect me rather than take on some eventuality, you know. So my CO stood by me. He said, "Saab, आप लोग अपनी चिंता करना, मुझे इस पे पूरा विश्वास है. ये तो आ जाएगी वापस. आप लोग मत भाग जाना कहीं छोड़ के कुछ."
So there you are. So men also contribute to it. You know, the kind of opportunities you get. Sophia, you've also commanded men, you know, in certain areas. So how does that pan out when you do that?
See, I'm from a corps of signals where the troops are very highly educated, you know. So you have to command as per their mindset. Because in infantry it's different, and in this thing. And how you command, when you yourself lead from the front, right? So you have to be with them. You have to be very professional. It happens in my unit when I entered during young days. So initially the Jawan didn't salute, saying that, oh, the young girl, lady is there, Jawan, madam hai koi. And when he was giving a reporting, he didn't know what to say. So when I was doing adjutant, he just marched up and said, generally they call Jahin Shriman when they give report, be it a man or a male or female officer. They say Jahin Shriman. So he came and said, Jahin Srimati. I was like, Srimati? I kept quiet and was like, he said, madam, he was like, madam, Shriman, Srimati. It was like,
yeah, so it was new.
I said, go back and report it again. So I had to report it to my twice second in command who was waiting for my orders. Like, what are you doing? He was like looking at me. I said, no, I cannot take on this. Again he went and again he came back. Jai Hind, blah, 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 that report. I said, please complete it. Then I said, call me as a Saab. Because that time it was, some troops were familiar. We don't have a regimentation. If I am in the first unit, it's not necessary that the same Jawan will be then my second unit. So somebody has not seen the women officers. So those kind of fees we
I
have
think
got.
the early days there was this problem
now
of
it is not
adjustment
there.
for the
Now
men
it is not there.
in really, but now it's not there anymore.
It's
I
not
think
there
initially
anymore.
that problem was there of adjustment.
And it's not only in the Indian Army. I'm telling you one thing. The Indian Army has progressed very well. From 92 onwards till date, you say, you want to see this, the lady officer, initially it was 22, then now it has reached to 1,500, right?
Yeah.
And now we are, even the Indian Army has provided the permanent commission in the Education Corps and the JAG branch, and now recently they're planning to be in the CMP, like Civil Military Police. And one of my course-mates, she just got posted as a second in command of CMP.
The core of the military
sub-area.
police unit, which is
It's
going
a
to be
police.
there.
She's going to control the riots, right? So Army is actually doing a lot
It's
of work for us
progressing.
and
Certainly, it's a work in progress. So let's give a big hand for that. That the Indian security forces are actually giving women their rightful place. And as you can see, this is exemplified in these three achievers that we have here. All of them have worked in the uniform, worked in difficult conditions. I have time for one more question if there is one. Otherwise, I'm going to ask for, yes, there is a lady there. Yeah.
I'm so proud to see you all today here. Since my childhood, I had one question, and I would like to ask you. As you know, we women go through monthly cycles. So I would like to know, during your tenure, how the, your people around you react towards you during those days, and how you manage to cope it up. Because, we undergo hormonal imbalance and changes and mood swings and all. So how do you cope up with that?
I'll just tell you this. The women in the forces, we are mentally robust, right? Physically fit. And this question, like yesterday also we discussed, this issue doesn't come at all. Because we've been trained that way. So either the men, how they look, or how you performing there, it doesn't matter at all. And the same way the man will agree, it's a very minor thing.
They don't come to know. They don't come to know. We don't let them come to know.
There you are.
That's kind of it.
Neetu, maybe you want to answer something.
To your question, the answer continues to be the same. As they said, it is the mental toughness. However, the only thing that we did not talk about, and the other sessions were talking about, so we'll quickly touch on that, and that is how do we take care of our families? How does that part get taken care of?
I was just coming to, let's give your closing comments on that.
Yeah, so we'll close it with that by saying what the previous session said. There is a huge infrastructure support that continues to support us. Behind every successful man, there is a woman, but behind every successful woman, there is a family that supports her. It's the children that support you. My daughter completed her class 12 in 19 schools. She went around the countryside with me. Today, she is doing her final year MBBS with Safdarjung. So it is possible. The children adjust accordingly, everything happens accordingly. The mental toughness that we are talking about, our families become mentally tough as well. Yes, it is difficult. I am not denying it is difficult. Yes, it is difficult. It is difficult to continue to change schools. It's difficult to take children across the countryside. But as the three of us together are saying, it is doable.
That's the spirit actually, which drives you.
I just want to add, see, organization is made up of human beings, There are no devils out there. They always help you in need. It's a reciprocal thing. I think everywhere, when you're really in need, there are people who stand by you. They always hold your hand. And it's a nice atmosphere where we can work, coexist, and enjoy our life. See, Army makes you responsible, mature, humane, a responsible citizen. It gives you a lot. So, I have to thank my organization for whatever I am and continuing so long. So we should not...
I think that's the spirit. I think, Sophia, last comments from you.
I would like, because my experience in the United Nations, so I would like to say the Indian Army has really contributed for the UN. It's 15%, and India is the largest troops contributing country in the United Nations. That's why now they are planning, but they said by 2017 they would like to increase 20%. So Army not only
and
look
more
after
and more
when
women
you're
are
here.
going on the UN missions.
Yes, exactly.
Like the CRPF's full battalion went, maybe someday will come when even the Army, Navy, Air Force will have a combined 1,000 strong women going to the UN. Let's hope for that.
The The chief has already announced for recruitment of women as recruits
Jawans,
in,
as
yes,
soldiers.
Jawans
As soldiers.
in the CMP,
Yeah.
that is the military police.
That is going to happen, so it's a work in progress. Let's give a big round of applause to these women and to the organizations that they belong to, because it's the organizations that decided to take the women and gave them the opportunity, so they must, we must acknowledge that. So let's give a big round of applause and a standing ovation perhaps. Thank you very much.
And because we happen to come from the security forces, we would like to end our session by saying, Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Jai Hind. Actually, all that they require, the armed forces and the security forces want from us as common citizens is respect and love and understanding. Please continue to give that.
So here we stand together along with the organizers.
Thank you very much. Thank you.